today we have, I think today we got some new item to learn, right? So I'm going to share with you some of those important stuff and also a few updates that we have made to the board. I just want to make sure that everyone get those updates and know what is going on. So that would be really awesome. Okay, while we waiting, right? I think we have about 10 minutes. If you want to ask me anything, you can probably raise your hand, or you want to share, some of your insights and so on. So that would be really great. Yep, it's good. Thank you for putting up in the chat. If you can hear me, that is awesome. Yes, please go ahead, Victor. eBay,
All right,
please.
JD, good afternoon from Nigeria.
Hi, good day today.
Yeah. It's nice to meet you again and nice to be here.
All right, awesome. Good
as
to have
always,
you. Good to have you.
Yeah, it's good to have you. So just straight to the point, we've seen the FOMC meeting yesterday, and from the meeting we see that no rate cuts, it just remains the same, and the market still pumped. I was initially thinking the market is going to go sideways because of the neutral stance the FOMC chair was taking. So, but the market pumped, and that is because I think it makes sense because of the stable coin bill they're about to pass. So, and once that happens, that is going to send crypto also going higher because if all the banks start enabling stable coins, I think that is going to be very bullish for crypto. So I think that this move up for the market is something that is good. But I don't know. Usually, when the market goes up this way, it always comes down one way or the other because the whales will not want to allow people to make the money. They want to deceive you into the market, and when you go in, when you think it's going into, all of a sudden dump. They call it liquidity grab. So we need to be smart in the game and see how we can also make wealth. And I've seen our positions in our JDXBOT. I've seen that you are very resilient in the position you have taken, even if we see the price actually going towards the liquidation point, but you are still resilient, and that gives me a lot of. I learned a lot of lessons from that. That we shouldn't shake. We shouldn't. What do they call it? We shouldn't tremble or get or fear or FOMO in the market. We need to trade like a robot, just as our bot is doing. So, and that is very, very good because this market upward movements, most people want to change their positions and take it to the upside, and that is where you start getting liquidated. I learned a lot from it, and I want to say kudos.
Yep. You are correct, eBay. I appreciate that insight, coming from you. Yep, it's true. I think later I'm going to share with you guys the improvement that we have done to the board. And because of that, right, we can actually have a peace of mind compared to previously, right? When you have a single position, you start to firefighting when the price starts to go against you like this. Now, we don't really worry because you can see that we have an automated system that we have actually we have actually added to the board, whereby it actually regulate your estimate liquidation and keep your liquidation away from the mark price. Okay, so I'm going to share with you later how we are doing that. So every time the liquidation fall, it will then push it back to certain range to maintain it. Okay, so I think that is something because we can't time the market. You don't know what happened with the market. By right, I don't see there is a reason why Bitcoin price actually going up. Okay, I don't see a reason actually with the interest rate, right? That is actually. But I believe there are. I think there might be two reasons. One is the price of Bitcoin now, right, that is rising, they are already factored in the upcoming rate cut. Okay, the upcoming rate cut, so it's already been factored in now. All right, so no matter what the Federal Reserve trying to say, I think Federal Reserve is very indecisive, uncertain, because they are waiting for the data. They don't have the data to actually make the decision. Or the second thing is that they might be actually don't really have the data. Okay, they don't know what is going on with the market, with the confusion, right? With Trump is now leading the economic of the nation. So that could be one of the reasons I think the investors decide, because they know that the next, I think Jerome Powell will have no choice but to do a rate cut in the coming, I think September, if I'm not mistaken, right? So I think people don't want to wait too long. So they have already factored in this decision now. Second reason is basically, I think there is a good news between dealing with China, right? So I think the China news actually is one of the factor that actually pushes the price of Bitcoin. So if the trade deals with China, the tariff deal with China, I think this coming Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, this weekend they are having a meeting in Switzerland. I think they're having a meeting whereby they're going to discuss on a deal and so on. So all this news, right, is actually empowering the behavior of the market, okay, to coming to buy. And definitely there are a lot of other news where now the banks are being given access to become custodial of Bitcoin, whereby they can buy. I think there's a news coming out. So a lot of these great news, right? Investors are coming in, institutions are coming in, so they want to try. But I think the institutions or whoever that is buying now, it is basically a trap. All right. So the retail has to be very, very careful, because every time it is already at a high, okay, it is already at the overbought, extreme overbought. And when you see the price move, that simply means a final liquidity they want to bring in the final liquidity so that they can then actually rug pull the whole market, So you might see probably another 30, 40%, or even 50%, a correction from the current price. Okay, so I think it's going to be a massive surprise to a lot of people when these things happen. And also, please understand, Bitcoin is correlated with the stock market. So this week is an earning week. So I think the digital companies, right? Nvidia, Tesla, all the earnings are very good. So because the earnings are good, the Nasdaq are actually still holding on. I don't see much movement in Nasdaq, but Nasdaq price is going up. And normally when electronic companies are doing well, Bitcoin actually also do well. So these are the factors, right? And then if you look into USDT dominance, USDT losing dominance, after yesterday Fed remark, I think there is a lot of non-confidence when come to the DXY, dollar currency index, and so on. So when this kind of non-confidence happen, investors may actually sell their dollar for Bitcoin, which is a risk on asset, right? So, and also they will go into gold and so on. So these are, I think, some of the situation that is playing around. Okay, but for me, I don't really care about. Thank you, eBay. Let me just put you to remove the pin. You see, I don't actually really care about institutions coming in, banks, and so on, because you see, the beauty about Bitcoin is that there are only fixed supply. You see, there is no way they can actually mine more just because they want more. There is no way. All right. There is only a fixed supply every single day. Okay. Every 10 minutes, there is only certain amount of Bitcoin that is being released, right? So there is no way for them to get more and more Bitcoin unless they try to get those who are holding Bitcoin to sell it. You see that? So this is the problem of the supply now. Okay, the supply shortages of Bitcoin that the institutions are facing, and everyone is rushing to own a Bitcoin, right? So it is going to be a supply shock. So the supply shock is not going to increase the supply. All right, so they still have to wait. So they still have to wait. So that's the reason why high likely a lot of the exchanges and so on, right? They might not have enough supply of Bitcoin for this institution. Okay, so you need to understand that. So in that manner, right? I believe, that Bitcoin price cannot shoot up because there is also control in terms of the scarcity itself, you see. So this is, I think, a common. But please understand that Bitcoin is now an institutionalized game, right? So when come to the institutionalized, please understand it will be basically a profit generation model. It is no longer holding, right? No one is going to hold now. I think if anybody going to hold, they have to hold at least another 4 to 8 years or 10 years, right? To really become rich if they really want to hold, which is definitely in the long run, okay? I believe Bitcoin price will actually go up, okay? So that is no doubt. But if you are a traders, right? Or you are a trader, you are scalping and so on, then please understand that you may need to be very careful. So at the moment, I think the price, I'm just waiting for the price to reach about 102. Okay, 102. Okay, this range, 101 to 102, I think is going to be a very important resistant range. And I think this is where we might see a massive, drawdown, whereby a lot of this institution will start to take profit. Okay, so now, and please understand, the stock market is at a very, very vulnerable position. So if the stock market correct another 20-30%, Bitcoin may actually correct, another 50-60%. We could even see Bitcoin actually revisiting 45,000. So but the problem is that people don't believe this, right? Because they think if it goes up all the way and it will never come down. Come on, guys. We have seen this. We have seen this many times, okay? It goes up, it comes down, it goes up, it comes down. So it's only a matter of time. So if you don't have patience, all right, if you don't have the patience in the market, like what eBay mentioned, right? You're going to probably think about reversing your position, and you try to do something at the wrong timing, and then you're going to suffer because now you're going to firefight how to hold that position. So never do that. Stay with your conviction, believe what you are doing. Okay, that is the reason why you have JDXBOT, right? Stay, let the bot handle that, so there is no emotions involved. All right, so and your job is to learn. Maybe you can learn, like what eBay mentioned. You can learn from the bot. You look at the bot and you can learn, hey, this is different, right? This is different than how we used to trade before. So that's why we have done a lot of enhancement. Even, okay, even I want to say thank you to the team, right? Let me just quickly show the chart here, okay? I want to really, myself and the technical team, okay? We want to really appreciate our community, okay? Especially those of you who came in and your position is open at around, let me just see, okay? Just give me a minute, let me change this, okay? Where your position is open at around this point. Okay, I think we have 79,000 and 80,000. I think we have quite a number of our user whose position open here. We actually bought down. Okay, we bought down at this level. So because during this period, right, you can see the market were moving sideways. So the bot actually bought down. So now, one thing I want you to really understand, okay, and probably you can appreciate the bot, because what we were doing, right? What we were doing is that we were actually purposely, okay, this is like purposely, because you can see, right, around 79,000, and now we are somewhere around what? Close to 100,000. Okay, close to 100,000. The price is around 99,99919. Can you see now? Let me ask you guys, that is how much is the point there? That is about 20,000 points. Okay, and if you look at the DCA, a lot of the DCAs are already halfway, right? Already halfway. I think it's somewhere 88,000, some is 90,000, some is 86,000. I can see a lot. I think the minimum I can see is about 86,000 and above. Okay, and I think tonight or tomorrow we will be doing manual at order or DCA because we're going to push the price closer to the market price. Okay, so now I really have to appreciate those of you who already come in, and if you are part of this scenario, right? I really want to say thank you. Because of you, we are actually able to actually check and also to actually verify the resilience of JDXBOT. So at the moment, right, you can see although we are 20,000 points away, 20,000 points has been tested, we are still about 13,000, 14,000, or even 12,000 away, okay, from the liquidation. So later I will show you what we are doing. So even if the price further goes up, we don't really worry about it because we are always keeping your liquidation 12,000 points away from the mark price. It will be automatically, trailing. It will automatically trailing as long as you have the available balance. Okay, make sure you have the available balance. So if your sub account is empty, don't worry, just go and top up your sub account and make sure you have available fund, because we will continue to do the trailing no matter where the price goes. Okay, so a special thanks. Okay, really appreciate the team, for trusting the process, trusting JDXBOT and allowing it. Because please understand, you can see now on the 1 hour, we are already seeing the reversal. Okay, we are seeing the reversal, but please understand the stock market has not opened yet. So we may even see, market move and hit that 102 or 101,000, right? So this is just to give you some idea, okay? Because I don't want to go through the detail yet, because I know that some of you are just coming in, or maybe I think I should go and show you that. So why do I say 100 and 102, right? I want to bring you to this liquidation map. These are the exchange liquidation map. Okay, now please understand the psychology of the market makers, the psychology of the institution. All right, the psychology is that basically, if you look at the liquidation here, right, we have if the green is the short, the red is the long getting liquidated, long position and the short position. Now if you look, right, there is, if you go all the way, right, about 102, there is about 1.76 billion. Okay, there are 1.76 billion short position that is waiting to get liquidated. Okay, that is about 1.75 billion. Now, if you look at your left, there are at about $95,000. Okay, $95,000 over here. Okay, there are about, look at the liquidation. Look at how much. It's about 3.47 billion is waiting to get liquidated. So now, if you are a market maker, right, or if you are a broker, or if you are an institution, where will you go next to liquidate? So you will probably, right, push a little bit more to 102 and 103 and take this 1.5 or 1.7 billion, and then you dump the price probably to 93,000 or 95,000 and take that 3.8 or 4 billion that is waiting there. You get me, right? So this is why, all right, this is why, okay, you can see that these exchanges are smart. Okay, they are smart. So and now you can see that we are like at the final countdown, whereby people are buying at the last minute here. They're going to get wrecked. All right, they're going to get wrecked. So you have to be very you have to understand about this liquidation map. Okay, this is very important. So normally, yes, you have this liquidation, right, and you look into this liquidation. Okay, so you will be able to see, right? We still have, can you see that? About 100 and 102 if I go on the 12 hours. That high likely, right? In this short time frame, you see that about 100, okay, 102 maybe they can go a little bit more just to take that liquidation, right? And then they may come down because there are a lot liquidation are already building up at the bottom here. All right, so to see that clearly, you can go to this, to this chart over here, liquidation map. Go to the exchanges. Can you see that? So you can actually see how many billions of liquidation are actually waiting. These are all the long and the short position, right? So this then give you some idea, right, where the market is going. So because I don't see there is much liquidation thereafter. So high likely that they won't go all the way, because to go all the way is a waste. They may actually come down to take the liquidation to generate profit. So that means, right, I don't think so Bitcoin will go above 105, above at the moment, not yet, because it's better for them to go down and then wait for the liquidation to build up at the top, and then only they go and take up the liquidation. So high likely Bitcoin price can come down to 93, 95, take the liquidation, even can go even further down. We don't know. And then we might not know what is the market sentiment, right? What will be the market sentiment? And by then, if the market sentiment is negative, then we could see probably further down, because we don't know what is going to happen with the stock market and so on. Okay, but if you look into let me just get back to, but if you look into what is happening, right, with the market now, I can already start to see the reversal is starting to take place, but we don't really have a big movement yet. So if you look into the normal candle, so you can see, right, it's probably starting, but a stock market not open yet. So probably we have to wait until 9:30 to see what happened, whether the institution is going to come to sell. Okay, please understand, some people think that if the price goes up, it will go up all the way. You might be shocked, okay, because now it is already overbought, right? So imagine, right, if one candle comes down so huge, everyone that is actually buying up is going to get liquidated. All right, so you have to be very careful. But I want to draw your attention to USDT dominance. So if you look at USDT dominance, can you see that USDT dominance is also going down? So when USDT dominance is going down, that means that people are actually selling or swapping, right? They are selling the USDT probably to buy Bitcoin. Because if we look into Bitcoin dominance, okay, this is a Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance, can you see that? It went up, okay, all the way, right? I think Bitcoin dominance has hit all-time high at about 65%. Okay, so I think Bitcoin dominance is already starting to reverse, and that's why we can see total 3. All right, total 3, which is the rest of the altcoins, right, is already starting to go up. So that's why some of the altcoins, okay, not the shit coins, okay, some of the altcoins that has a fundamental ecosystem tokenization is already starting to go up. So are we going to see altcoin season starting, or what is really happening, right? This is another thing to really look. So when the Bitcoin dominance start to come down, if this dominance starts to come down, then you could be expecting Bitcoin price, okay, also to come down. All right. So these are area that you need to watch. Then we got the DXY. DXY are already starting to curl up, okay, because you can see it is moving sideways. There was not much, okay, movement yesterday, DXY, in terms of DXY. So DXY is still holding strong. So that means that if DXY starts to move up, then Bitcoin price will start to come down, right? So this is a inverse correlation between Bitcoin and DXY. Now, the other thing I also want you to be very cautious is the CME gap. This is the Bitcoin futures, right? Yes, CME also actually, you can see that the price actually already probably hit 100 over 1,000 in the future CME. But please understand, we have a gap at about 92,000. We also have a gap at about 97. Let me go to 1 hour so you can see here. We have a gap here, all right, at about 97,000. So high likely, right, it can come down and fill the gap. And then we have another gap, which is around 90. Can you see that? 92,000. Why is this gap not taken yet? Because They are waiting, right, for the liquidation to build up, guys. So once the liquidation built up, it's about 3 billion over, right? So imagine if this market reverse and come down to 92, 91, that's going to be a massive liquidation, okay? And then please remember, I did mention previously, we have another gap at about 79,000 also, all right? So all these are various factors, okay, that you need to really capture to understand, what is really happening with the market. Okay, so that's why I believe that there is no one definite reason or factors, but there are many different factors. But now I hope, right, with this insight, you are able to to put the puzzle together and see it from a much macro perspective, what actually could lead to the price. Okay, so please understand, tariff news and all these things are just temporary. Okay, these are not permanent. So if the price is moving based on the temporary, we call this impulse, right? If the price is moving because of impulse and behavior, the price can come down anytime just because of news too. So you have to be very careful. But people who are buying now at this time, I think they are being fooled by the institution. Okay, because that is what the whales wants them to do. Buy now, okay? Why? Because the whales are waiting for the liquidity. So the money comes in, so the whales then will start to sell. All these people who comes in later, they're going to cry, right? Because now imagine if the price correct by 50% and Bitcoin goes back to 50,000 or 45,000, it's going to take you probably another 1 or 2 years to wait for the price to come up. All right. So because the narrative now is that everybody's thinking that the bull run has not happened yet. How if the bull run is already done, completed, right? So 109 is the highest price ever. Okay. So, but nevertheless, I hope this is clear. Okay. Any questions on this, on the market? Why I'm explaining? Because those of you who are using the bot, at least you understand now. Oh, this is why you see that like I think like today, right? There was a lot of ad order took place. Why the ad order takes place now and never takes place earlier? Come on, guys. Why you want to waste your bullet? All right. That's why the ad order took place about 90 over 97, 98 in the ad order. That is good because then your entry price is now shifted slightly, right? Even if your entry price shifted by 1,000 points, that is a massive improvement. Okay. So it's very important. That's why if you trade manually, like what eBay mentioned, right? If you trade manually, you are moved by emotions. So you may try to keep adding order and thinking that you're going to close. And imagine you add order, add order, add order. You do the DCA and then suddenly realize that the price is going to move another $2,000-3,000 against you, and now you don't have enough bullet. You are a dead man. Okay, you will be dead. You just have to surrender because you can't do anything, or you may just cut the loss and take the loss, right? That is why most people do, right? Because at the end of it, they are now panicking because they are worried. So, but we are not really panicking at this moment because we know exactly what we are doing. Okay, so I'm just waiting for the price to reverse. So we will see what happened with the market. But nevertheless, there are necessary measures that we have put in place to protect the bot, which I'm going to share with you later. Okay. Okay, great. Is this helpful? If it is helpful, please put in the chat room. Okay, put in the chat room if it's helpful. Some kind of emojis or just put there. Okay, helpful. Okay, that would be great to know that. Okay. Do you guys have any questions before we move on? Okay, any questions before we move on? You can raise your hand if you want to. Let's settle this part first, okay? All right, so that we can then move on. Any questions? I hope this is clear, okay? Just want to make sure everyone is clear, or else you will be under pressure, stressful, right? I do not know, maybe you are doing your own trading, you are stressful because you don't know what you are doing, but the bot actually knows what it is doing, so we just leave it, okay? Okay, great. Yes, yes, please unmute yourself, eBay.
Okay, for me, I'm doing my own trading. I've initially, when the market was going down, when it was around when the market was around $93,000, I actually thought it's going to go down further. I was thinking it will go down to at least $91,000, $92,000. You know, so but when the first chair then made the announcement that they're in neutral position, I thought the market is going to stay neutral, sideways for a while before we start seeing any movement. I was so surprised to see the upward trend. So what that gave me more courage is when I was actually about to switch positions to go short. I was trying to switch, but I was wondering what to do. So when I looked at the bot. The bot hasn't changed, and the market was going towards $100,000, but the bot didn't change. So that gave me some courage to remain resilient too. You know what we have learned from JD is how to be resilient in the market and how to face the market like a warrior. You know, the way a warrior will go into the war to fight the war, he will keep his bullets at the right time and give a good shot, a good sniping shot to kill the enemy where the enemy is. So we don't want to lose that bullet that we have and start going run. So we want to wait, just as JD has mentioned, wait until we see the enemy lost all his ammunitions. The enemy doesn't have any bullet to go further again, then we cannot strike. Then we have a winning game. So I want to say thank you so much. I was very insightful, and I love the way they. So if you are trading manually, I think one of the good ways to go about your manual trade will be to watch what the bot is doing, and you can copy what the bot is doing while you do your manual trading. So thank you.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so actually that is a plus point, right? If you are trading, actually you can see what the bot is doing. That is a plus point, but you need to know what you are doing. So those of you who has been trained by me and you know how to trade, I think it is easier for you. Okay, but it's just that now the bot is doing hedging. It's a dual position. It's no longer single. If it's a single position by now, I think most of the position would have got liquidated. Okay, so it's a bit more impossible to happen for a dual position. Okay, so I think that is a very important insight. Okay, that you need to really know about the market itself. Okay, so I think this is a very good session, right? Because this is the kind of session where you can actually understand exactly how you see what the bot is doing is what is in my mind, is my strategy. You know, so now you understand exactly, right, how the things is working and so on. Okay, so, but as I mentioned earlier, those of you are floating, I appreciate you guys because actually that shows what I really want to portray is that because most of you has been from the beta testing, right? Beta testing, soft launch, pre-launch. Now you can see, wow, we are 20,000 points and yet we are still in the market, right? So that means that the sub account strategy, you know, all this strategy or what we are putting in, right, is working. It's just that we want to continuously improve a little bit more to make this bot more resilient. And also, right, the thing is that sometimes people mistaken floating versus the market. Please understand, sometimes the strategy, although you have the best strategy, but because of the market, right, you still have to wait. You can't rush it, right? So you need to separate between market and the strategy. Okay, please understand, because sometimes you can see the strategy when the bot opens the position, sometimes 2-3 add orders, 2-3 DCAs, the market reverse, you get a huge profit. But now the market don't want to reverse. So when the market don't want to reverse, you can't be pushing the market. You can't force it. You have to wait. So it doesn't matter how long we wait, right? But are you willing to wait? That's the question, right? So if you're not willing to wait, that is a big problem. That's why if you are trading manually, you will actually go against your will. And that's why a lot of the traders actually lose money, okay? So now, as discussed, right? If all the bases are covered, so when you go into the war zone, make sure all the bases are covered. So if all the bases are covered, come on, you actually trust the process, you trust your ammunition, you trust your team, you trust all the strategies, the support, whatever. So, okay, the air support, the underground support, whatever support it is, right? Because all the bases are covered. So you are going to go in as a winner, and you are already a winner even before you go into the war zone, right? So that's why you see those people who are abundance, right? Who have a lot of money, they don't need to worry when they go to war because they got so much of fun. Even if the market go against them, right? They are not worried. That's why you see a lot of the hedge fund, a lot of the brokers, they don't worry, right? Because if the market move against them, they can put another $10,000 and then they ambush and then they actually win and get out, right? Because they have abundance. So if you don't have abundance, don't ever trade with the little that you have and you're thinking that you're going to gamble with that little and you're going to become a millionaire tomorrow. The moment you go in as a loser, you will come out as a loser. Okay, because you are gambling. So never do that, because just one bullet to your head, you are dead. Okay, so you better be very careful. That's why it's good to have abundance. So that is the reason why we introduced the sub account, because we want our team to go in with the abundance mindset. Okay, so because they already prepared the sub account. So that's why we are keep telling you, right? If we tell you 50%, don't put 50%, put 100%. It's fine. Okay, because the more fun you have in your sub account, the better it is, because it will help you. Okay, when the situation, when market move like 20, 30,000, you don't need to worry because you have the sub account with you. You see that? So the sub account, you can deploy the fund at any time. You can put in more, it doesn't matter. So that's why if you have your downline, right, tell them, don't just put 50% is a minimum requirement. If you can put 1-to-1, that will be fantastic. Okay, but some people are like, oh, if I put my sub account is not trading, so I'm losing that amount. You don't understand, because that is your risk management. You see that? So the reward and risk must be balanced. Don't just look at the profitability, but balance between the reward and the risk. Okay, that will be very, very critical. Okay, so I hope, okay, I hope this this session is is a very, very significant session. That's why I love the AMA session. Okay, every fortnightly. Okay, first week and third week of the month. Okay, so make sure you are there to learn. Okay, all right. Now let's just move on quickly. Okay, let's just move on. Let me go back to my slide. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm going to cover a few things here. First thing first, I think we already covered the market, so that is great. Let's take that out. Now I'm going to just quickly update you on a few things, right? Realized PnL and net profit. I think some of you who are new, probably you might want to know, right? How is the realized profit, been decided, and the net profit, and from the net profit, how do the 70-30 split taking place, and why is the 30% being deducted, and so on, right? So I'm going to cover that. And then I'm going to give you some updates about the DCA and hedging, because we have done, you see that those of you who has this floating position, you don't know how much you actually are adding value to our technical team, because through this, right, we are able to decide, we are actually able to improve the number of DCAs and the hedging, which I'm going to share with you, okay, shortly. So you can see, right, 20,000 points, okay, but we are already halfway in terms of the DCA. Can you see that? So imagine if you don't have a DCA, you are now at 99,000 and you open an entry at 79, you have to wait for ages. Okay, but if we can do the DCA more effectively and bring the entry price closer, right, that will be awesome. You see that? And then we also have a new controls that I'm going to share with you in terms of the position ratio and also the estimate liquidation, right? As I shared with you earlier, how are we doing this? What are these additional controls that is in place? And then I'm going to share the last one on those floating position, what we're going to do. Okay, what we're going to do, so that you at least you have an expectation what is going to happen, and at least we know, right, that the sooner we can close this floating position, the better it is. Yes, we will have a huge profit, but we want to make profit consistently. Okay, we don't want to be staying in the market too long, right? So just understand that. So now let's move on. to the realized PnL and also the net profit. Okay. Now, for the realized PnL, right? The first thing you must understand the nature, okay, the technology of the trading that we are actually deploying, right? So in JDXBOT, what we are doing here is a hedging position. Okay. Now, when we say hedging, is a dual position whereby every time we open a position, we open the long and the short at the same time. But the position amount is different. Okay, and that is determined based on the direction, on the money flow, okay, and also based on the tactical strategy that we are deploying. So then we will decide which one will be the highest. So you always see whenever a position is open, it will always be 4-1. Okay, you will always see, if you look into the BTC, is 0.004 and the hedging position will be 0.001. So every time a new position is open, we need to maintain the ratio. It's important to maintain the ratio. All right. Later I will share with you. So now, so if you go to the position history, right? So when a position is closed, you can see both positions are closed, but one position have a greater profit than the other position. So the smaller position is a hedging position. Okay, this is your main position. So you can see in this example, the main position is a long position and the hedging position is a short position. So here you have the calculation. Can you see that? Closing profit. So if you look over here, there is a closing profit. So the closing profit is $20. Can you see that? This is the example. So minus open fee, close fee, funding fee. Now all these fee belongs to BitGet. Okay, so all these fees are belongs to BitGet. So if you take the closing profit and you actually deduct all these fees, you will get your realized PnL, which is $18 as stated over here. You see that? So this is important, but we have not got our net realized yet. Okay, please understand. So this is a realized profit for the long. Then we have a realized loss. Can you see that? Realized loss for the short. So now I don't care about the loss, right? Because at the end of it, our strategy is always about the net profit. So if you look over here, if I take my long and short, so I still actually generated a profit for this dual hedging position, $12. Isn't that good? Can you see how we changed the whole strategy? So this is how we are actually, this is how the technology of JDXBOT currently works, okay? Because this is what we call a dual hedge technology or dual hedge mode, okay? Now the greater the better the position ratio, definitely the better your profit. But if your position ratios are too tight, then your liquidation will be too close. So you need to balance between the reward and the risk. Okay, so that is important. Okay, so currently our position ratio target is below 0.3. So that means if you take the long, the short, okay, the hedging position and divide by your long position, the ratio must be below 0.3. So that means if your ratio is 0.3 and you close, you will always have profit. Okay, please understand that. Okay, so now, where do you actually see this realized profit? You will see that in your trading analysis. So if I would bring you, right, because this presentation was prepared previously, right? So if you go through your trading analysis, right, you can see over here the trading analysis. Now, if you take the PnL here, right, you can take the PnL or whatever, right? You can see over here. Now, if I would just go to 30 days, now you can see that if I tap this, I will be able to see on this day, on the 5th of May, my realized PnL was 11.95. Can you see that? So this is where you can see your realized PnL. But at the top here, right, you can see at the top here is your total PnL. So, but if I want to just see on that day, I click over here and I can see on the 22nd, for example, $100. So this is the screenshot. Can you see trading analysis? Okay. Now, don't look at the account analysis because account analysis inclusive of the floating. We don't care about the floating. Okay, we only care about the trading analysis. Okay, so you can see over here, if you click the bar, you will see the realized profit. Okay, so now you can see, right? This is the realized profit that you need to know for that day, right? Or for that week or for that month, because this is after minus all the Bitget fees. Okay, I hope that is clear. Okay, this is after minus all the Bitget fees. Okay, so now let's talk about the net profit. So the net profit, right? If we take the realized profit, so you will see this realized profit in your spot wallet. Can you see that? So your realized profit will be in your spot wallet because this is your 100% income, 100% profit. So JDXBOT cannot deduct anything from your, please understand, we cannot deduct any amount of money from your Bitcoin, right? Because we don't have the withdrawal permission granted to us. Okay, granted to us, right? So because in your API, remember, withdrawal permission is not granted. So we cannot touch. You are allowing us to transfer to manage your funds. So we can transfer your fund from sub account to main account to sub account, main account to your spot wallet and so on, but we cannot withdraw. So that keeps your account safe. Okay, so your money is safe with you. Okay, because we don't have access to it. So where will you see this realized profit? It will be transferred to your spot. So, but where do you deduct the 30% then? Where do we deduct the 30%? We deduct in your strategy wallet. Can you see that? So that's why if you go back to JDXBOT dashboard in your back office, you will see the daily profit earned and the daily strategy fee, right? So in this example, from $12.24, 70% goes to the user, to our partners, 30% goes to JDXBOT. So if we go back to the back office, right? Let me just bring you to the back office. Yeah, so your daily realized profit is $12. So you will see the $12 there, and the 30% will be here. So if you take the $12 and deduct the 30%, you will get your net profit. Okay, you will get your net profit. So now, where is this strategy fee deducted? You go to your strategy wallet. This is where you maintain your 30%, right? Your sorry, the 20 or 30% monthly you maintain over here. So the deduction will be automatically take place here. So every time the realized profit is realized, okay, in the real time, the 30% will be deducted here. Can you see that? So you can check the deduction based on the asset. Either it's BTC and so on. So make sure that you always have your available balance and make sure it is not depleted. Because if it's depleted, your bot will be deactivated. Okay, so make sure you always put the balance reminder so that you are reminded every time it reaches, because we don't know, right? Each user have a different main account. If your main account is $1,000, your 20% will be different. Probably you need to maintain $200 for that month. But if you got $10,000, your balance should be around $2,000 for the whole month. Okay, I'm talking about the whole month. I'm not talking about one day. But if your deduction is 3,000, God bless you, right? That means you have made a massive profit. So the more the deduction in the strategy wallet, the better it is, because that is a good news, because you are making more realized profit. Okay, so but the problem is that, please understand that your realized profit is actually sitting, okay, your realized profit is actually sitting in your spot account. So this spot account is actually 100%. So what you need to do, right, might be every weekly, you need to allocate 30% from here and send it over to your strategy wallet. Can you see that? So make sure you do that, okay? Don't take all this money and go and spend on popcorns and then spend on your girlfriend, watch movie and so on, and then you realize, hey, my strategy wallet is now depleted. Where am I going to get this money? You see that? Don't make that mistake. So allocate that 30%, okay? Because that is actually our agreement, right? Profit sharing, right? Between the partners, okay? So please understand that, okay? Okay. All right. I hope that is clear now. Okay. So you only need to know the realized profit, and then because the realized profit already deducted all the fees that is belongs to Bitget. So we pay Bitget first. After we pay Bitget, then that realized profit will be shared 70-30. So the 70% is your net profit. Okay. So that's why, right? As I mentioned yesterday, right? As I mentioned, on Tuesday, you see, many companies, what they do, the 70% is not your net profit. They will then take 50% of that and distribute to the uni level or whatever. Then only you get your net profit. But we don't do that here in JDXBOT because we are not an MLM company, right? So 100% of that 70% goes to you. Because most copy trading, they actually take that net profit and split it further. Okay, but we don't do that. All right, so that's why we stand by our mandate, right? Empowering ordinary people to generate extraordinary income because we give you that 70%. Okay, now people ask me why 30%, right? Don't worry, that 30% we have a plan because I think the next phase we will be introducing a partners referral program whereby we will be allocating might be about some of the percentage of that 30% to share as a profit sharing to our partners who have a team under them. So based on the amount of the strategy fees that is deducted, you will then be rewarded with the profit sharing. Okay, so once the profit sharing model is ready, we will be sharing with you. Okay, not now. Okay, just take note of that. There is a plan. So if you need to build, if you need to bring in people, then you have the time to do it now. Okay, do it now because once we introduce, that will be like monthly. Every month, we will be calculating your total fees in your hierarchy. So once we see the total fee, because total fees are the real money, okay, real fees that is deducted. So that's why to make sure the company is sustainable, we need to look at the real fees. So real fees, okay, it depends on the number of people or the amount of the asset that is trading under your hierarchy, right? So the more strategy fee is actually deducted, the better it is because the more profit, right? So then we will calculate at the end of the month and there will be a profit sharing being allocated to different level based on the amount of the strategy fee that is actually deducted under your team. Will that be awesome? Okay, so that is another, I think, massive, right? That will be a massive reward for the team, you see. So now you have what we call the trading return. You got a trading return. The trading return, we never fix daily, right? The trading return, sometimes you may have floating. So, but the thing is that you got return from the trading. You have 30% from the affiliates. Okay, level 1, 20, level 2, 10%. So total is 30%. And then you also have the referral reward program at the end of the month. So every month now, you also will have income coming in from the profit sharing. Isn't that awesome, right? So this is why we are doing what we are doing because we want to reward our partners. Okay, so just take note of that. Okay, great. Now let me just proceed with the updates. Okay, so the first update is the DCA and hedging. Okay, DCA and hedging. This is very important. So when we do a dual position, DCA and hedging is a very important two important element, okay, that keeps the profitability and also the risk, okay, which is basically the estimate liquidation. So we need to push the liquidation away with the hedging, and we need to achieve the position ratio with the DCA. All right, so both of these plays a very significant role, and we need to balance it. Okay, so that is the significance of this. Okay, so now if you look into the DCA, the good news is that we have actually already increased the number of DCA. But before I go in there, I just want to quickly give you an idea about the DCA, right? That is important, and also the hedging. So now, as I mentioned previously, right, in the previous AMA, now please understand DCA in our term is an ambush strategy because it's all about war, right? You have this mindset going into the war. So it's an ambush strategy you use to reduce the gap between the entry price and also the market price, okay? to speed up position profit taking when favorable market movement occur, right? So you are doing a DCA, or we call this in the trading term at orders. All right. So you're taking advantage to move the entry price closer to the market price, so that if the market price reverses, right, you are in a position to actually enjoy the profit. Okay, so that is basically DCA. So DCA is always reward centric because it always focuses on profitability, and by doing DCA, you are basically speeding up the closure of the position. Okay, so that is important. But this DCA, right, has to be continuously monitored and improved because we have different market situations and so on. Okay, so now then we have the hedging. Now, hedging is to maintain a reasonable estimate liquidation price range or further away from the mark price, offering greater protection for users' position. So this is a risk-centric. So you have the reward-centric and you have the risk-centric, okay? Now, we need to strike the right balance between DCA and hedging, okay, in order to enhance the return while addressing the risk management. Can you see that? So this is not easy, guys, okay, when come to. So if you want to do this manually, it's almost impossible. But you can do this through an algorithm, right? So that's why we set up this algorithm. Okay, we have this bot. So the bot can actually do this automatically, right? So because manually it is not really easy. Okay. Now the good news is this, guys. Please understand, in the previous AMA, I did told you we have 14 DCA, right? Now the DCA has been increased to 17. Okay, so this is good because the more DCA that we have and the shorter the interval of the DCA, that will actually speed up the closure of the position. Okay, it may not be applicable for the existing users that are floating, but when your position close later, right, you're going to start to use this new 17 hedging, 17 DCA, and 10 hedging. So imagine, right, at that point, you might be seeing your position is actually closed much faster. Okay, so just take note of that. So, but nevertheless, okay, I think to probably, right, between the few days time, all of your position will be actually using 17 DCA. We will keep you updated. Now, let's just take a look, right? Now, the first DCA starts at minus 50% ROE. Okay, minus 50% ROE. So when a position is open, if the market go against you by 50% ROE, minus 50%, the first DCA will actually execute. Okay, but the first DCA got no hedging. Can you see that? There is no hedging. The hedging will only start at the second DCA. Can you see that? So when the second DCA is executed at minus 100 ROE, the first hedging will also be executed. So it will go on. You see that? 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, 450, 500, 550, 600, 650, 700, and then 800. Can you see the interval now changed to 100, 900, and 1,000? Okay, now just to give you some perspective, right? I told you just now we are about 20,000 points away. Where is the DCA now? The DCA is around 8 and 9. So imagine, right? Imagine, can we go $40,000 without any issue all the way to 17 DCA? I believe so. Okay, but with a condition, your sub account, okay? Your sub account, there is always enough fund. So you can last the longer you want to. Okay, so this is a resilient model that we have put in place, whereby the DCA plus the hedging, okay, it comes along together. Okay, so you can see the 50% interval, the hedging is alternate, but the 100% interval, the hedging is on the dot. Okay, every time there is a DCA, the hedging will take place. Okay, so this is just to give you a quick idea, okay, so that you understand how these two elements, right, has to work together and to achieve the result that we want to achieve. Okay. Now, as we discussed earlier, right, there are some new controls that we have actually put in place. That's why I told you, right, this floating that we are facing is actually a blessing in disguise, because it allows our technical team to actually put in certain measures to be able to continue to protect, safeguard the position while we are working on the DCAs and so on. Okay, so what are those enhanced features that we have put in that actually put us into rest, actually, because we don't have to be firefighting to monitor, because it is now done automatically, autonomously by the bot. Okay, now the first thing that we have actually automated is the estimate liquidation. So now, some of you, right, you might see every time your estimate liquidation fall below 12,000 points from the mark price, the bot will automatically adjust by performing hedging to push your liquidation above, beyond 12,000 points again. Okay, so this will be done automatically. So in this manner, right, whatever happens, even if the price goes up, goes against you further and further, you don't need to worry. Every time, if let's say the difference between liquidation and mark 11,900, so every hour on the hourly basis, the bot check, all right, if you fall 11,900, I will push these things back above 12,000. Okay, is this brilliant? All right, so this is a new measure of control that we have put in place so that we do not need to worry about. So now everyone is standardized, 12,000 and above. Okay, initially I did it 15, but then I changed it to 12. I can even change it to 10. I can change it back to 12. That is up to us. But I just want to let you know, okay, that things may not be fixed just as this, because we can keep changing based on the market scenario. So if let's say all the positions are closed, we will return back to 15. All right. So, but the drawback is that when we do this, because we have to do the hedging, you might see your position ratio actually go beyond 0.3. All right. That is the drawback. Okay. But don't worry. We also know what to do with the drawback. Okay. When we want to close the position later. Okay. Later. So, but please take note, we have this measure, this new measure of control that is in place to automatically, it's a trailing. Okay. It will trail, and every hourly check is going on. Okay. In your bot is every hourly the check is going on. Okay. Now, another important measure is that position ratio. Okay. Now, we all know, right? I already taught you the position ratio is below 0.3. So if you look in this example, if you look at this mark, right? This mark at the back of the liquidation, or if the amount, if the position amount, you see the BTC amount 0.005, and the main position is 0.02. So the smaller amount is the hedging amount. So if you take the smaller amount and divide by the bigger amount, you will get the answer, right? Whether it is below 0.3 or above. Okay, so what we have done now is that in the event the market reverses, so let's say, right, minus 233, the market reverse, it comes down to, let's say, 85,000, 84,000. And you have a minus, we close at plus 35% ROE. So at plus 35% ROE, the bot will check, our algorithm will check your ratio. If your ratio is above 0.3, your bot will not close in loss. Okay, so this is another brilliant measure that we put in place, because we don't want to close the position in loss. So once we see, right, that we identify, hey, this position is beyond 0.3, if we close, okay, this user will be at loss. So what we will do is that we will regulate the ratio prior to the closing it. Okay, we will regulate. We will see whether we want to add order or we want to do a partial profit taking in order to bring the ratio below 0.3 before we close the position. Okay, you get me, right? So this is an additional measure, Okay, one is the estimate liquidation trailing, and the other one is the position ratio to prevent us from closing this position at loss. Okay, so I hope, all right, I hope now you have more peace of heart and mind, okay, knowing that these measures are in place. Okay, so just want to make sure that you guys understand what we are doing. And as I always mention, right, please understand my focus, because I came from a Japanese company background. I was with Japanese company in electronic because I'm a process engineer. I was there for about 8 years. So the way I work is always about Kaizen. Kaizen is continuous improvement. Okay, so our technical team, we are working on continuous improvement. We don't stop just because we have the bot. No. Okay, we continuously improve. So we look at ways how we can put certain measures in place. Okay, so that we can make this to be probably one of the best bot in the industry. Okay, one of the best bot in the industry that has all the measures and the control in place. Okay, so that is what I'm doing. So we will not stop just here. Okay, probably later on, based on market, we will have other new ideas and so on, right? So that is why some of these floating positions are actually helping us to put all these measures in place. Okay, so I really want to know, we are so grateful, okay, for our community for having the patience, allowing that floating to take place, because you don't know behind the scene what we are doing. Okay, so just to let you know, so these are the outcome, okay, of those studies and those measures and improvement we are putting in place. Okay, now moving forward, right, I know that some of you will be thinking, all right, so what is going to happen with this floating position? Simple, guys. It's all about the market. So if the market starts to reverse, okay, there are two initiatives that we will be performing. I think high likely this week, there are two. One is we will be doing a manual DCA, okay, to shift the entry price closer to the market price, because we are preparing for the price reversal. So you can see, right? You see, some of us, we are impatient. Okay, we are impatient. We want the DCA to take place faster. But here I am, the master of patience. Okay, I have to wait and wait and wait and wait until the price now reach about close to 100 or 102,000. Then only we are ready to take the action. You see, so this requires patience. And if people don't understand us, they will be thinking that we are crazy, right? To allow the bot to float for so long. All right. It's not crazy, guys, because by solving this time, right? By solving and putting this measure, you don't know how it will be helpful in the next cycle. Okay. So that is, I think, the benefit. So those bots that is going to open next cycle, they will be the biggest beneficiary of these measures that we are putting in place. Okay. Now, the other thing is that after we do the manual DCA or add order, we will be starting to do the partial profit taking, which is about 10% of the hedging position. So if you look at the hedging position, right? If I may show you some of the bots, right? Let's see. Let's take an example here. So if you look at this position, right, you can see we have about plus 123% there. Okay, and if we go, maybe let's check another bot, USDT, about 200. So it's good, right? Because the higher the ROE percentage here, so what we will be doing is that we will not go big, okay? Because you see, what we want to do is that some of the position, if you look, right, if you don't mind, okay, check your position ratio. Some of your position ratio is actually above 0.3. So how to solve this problem is by taking partial profit of your hedging position. Okay, so what we are doing is that we are only going to take about 10% of your position size. So if in this example, 0.06, so 10% will be, so if I tap the close here, right? So you can see 10% will be about 0.00, 0.00, you see that? 0.006. Only 10%. It's a very, very small amount, right? So when we actually reduce 0.006, your position ratio will automatically improve. And also we are doing small amount because if you take partial profit, it will also bring your liquidation closer, right? So, but if your position is, let's say, 15,000, 20,000, you do not need to worry. But if it is, let's say, 13,000 and so on, and it goes inside 11,000, you don't need to worry because it will push back. But when it push back, it will add the hedging again. Okay, so that's the reason why we have to be very careful what we are doing here. Okay, but just to give you an idea, because we can only take partial profit when the percentage of the hedging is big, like this example. Because when the percentage become minus, we cannot do partial profit. We have to add order to your main account. So if there is an available balance, right? You can see I have an available balance. So JDXBOT can add order. So when we add order, let's say, for example, I told you, right? When we add order, what will happen? Your position size will increase and your ratio also will increase. But most importantly, the entry price probably will become 89 or 90,000, right? So that is good. So imagine if we can do a few rounds and bring the entry price to 93, 94. By the time if the market comes down, all the position will actually close. Okay, so that is the two measures, okay, that we will be actually looking into this coming week. So if your position is floating, especially I think if it's more than 10 days or what, right? I think we will be putting that measures in place so that we can quickly, see the closure of this position. And then when the new position is open, you will be already starting to use all the new measures automatically. Okay, so that will be brilliant, okay, for our users. Okay, so now the other thing is that I just want to remind the team again, because we do notice a lot of the sub accounts are already depleted, right? So in the event, right, please understand, as I mentioned, right, that you don't have to wait. Okay, if you see your sub account depleted and you want to go and top it up, you can top it up because it will immediately, it will help, okay, for your main account. Okay, it will help. So there are three scenarios, right? One, your sub account is depleted, or your estimate liquidation price already below 12,000 or around 12,000. So you can see, all right, because of the measure that we put in, or your main account balance dropped to 50%, right? Then you receive a critical alert email. Now, under any of these conditions, you can actually top up your sub account. All right, you can top up. So as I mentioned to you, 50% is just the minimum requirement. You can put more. Okay, you can put another 10%. You can even keep it at 100%. It's up to you. But some people have a question. If I top up, where should I top up? Main account or sub account? The answer is your sub account. Okay, because when JDXBOT algorithm check, it will check your sub account. If there's a fund, it will move your fund to your main account. Okay, so in that way, you don't disrupt your main account. Okay, because if you go and top up your main account, when the position close later, right? When the position close later, what happened? You need to remove the main account, or you need to top up your sub account in order to maintain, the 50% requirement for your sub account. You see, so because if you go and top up your main, then your main account will be greater. So the bot will not open new position because it checked your sub account. Your 50% is not sufficient. All right. So that's why it is easier for you to top up your sub account, because if you have more than 50% in your sub account, it will not disrupt the opening of your new position. I hope that is clear. Okay, so that is how the algorithm actually works. Okay, so this is just a reminder. Okay, those of you who have extra fund and you want to top up, you top up the sub account. Okay, so but these are the three conditions. So you don't have to really wait until the critical alert. But even the critical alert, you can see is only we are doing it at 50%, much earlier, much early than even the margin call from BitGet, right? Because margin call from BitGet means you are dying. Okay, that's the last time they give you a memo, a notification to tell you that I'm going to kill you, right? So we don't want to do that. So we give you a 50%. So you will have time, right? Even if it goes to 40%, 30%, 20%, you still have time, all right, to top up your sub account. Okay, but now with the new measure that is put in place, it's almost actually difficult for you to hit, because you can see, right? We are already 20,000, yet I don't think so anyone got the critical alert email yet, right? I don't think so. So it is good. Okay, it is good. So means it is going to take a longer time for anyone to actually receive that critical alert. Okay, but if you need to top up your sub account, go ahead and do it. Okay, so I hope, all right, I hope this insight, okay, today's insight is helpful. That's why, right, this AMA session is more technical. So in this manner, we want to make sure that we don't want you to just come into JDXBOT and enjoying, right, the trading and so on, but it is good, okay, for you to also learn, all right, and gain this extraordinary knowledge, all right, because we want to empower you not only through financially, but also through all this knowledge and information. So please understand, guys, some people tell me, right, that, hey, your subscription fees is $250. I say, come on, the knowledge that you are getting for the $250 is beyond than your subscription fees, okay? Because in some of those team and so on, right, you might pay more than that. So our subscription comes with this kind of, brilliant knowledge, so that you can learn about the crypto market. Okay, this is going to be very significant. Okay, all right. So I hope that you are blessed today with this insight and this, this additional knowledge. And I also want to make sure you understand with the updates that we are doing, with the new measures, okay, that we are putting in place, so that when you know what is happening, right, you can expect certain things. Okay, and also you can share with your team to make sure that they understand what they are getting in. Okay, because I always remember one thing, guys. What is what is risk, right? Risk is not knowing what you are getting involved. All right. So if you don't know what you are getting involved, that is risk. All right. Risk is not about losing money. All right. Losing money is the outcome of risk. But if you don't know what you are getting involved, that is the risk. A lot of people keep money in the bank. They don't know, right? In the event if the bank is, if the bank is having a financial problem, they don't know how much is their saving is covered, right? So you better go and check out, guys, because as every bank they have, a protection amount. So if you don't know and you keep $1 million there, and then you find out that if there is a delinquency or there's a problem, the bank only give you back 250,000. You are dead. All right. Why? This is what I say, right? Not knowing, right? So when you don't know and you get involved, that's why the risk is. Okay. So, but if you don't know, you want to get involved, you can. But the moment you get involved, make sure to quickly, okay, go and get those knowledge. Don't wait too long. Okay. All right. Great. Okay. I hope you are blessed. Anyone have any questions, any comments, any input with this presentation on the technical aspects today? Please go ahead. You can raise your hand at the bottom. If you want to ask any question to clarify about those technical things, please go ahead. Anyone? Anyone, guys? Yes, please go ahead, eBay.
All right. I want to say thank you again, JD. I just learned something new again from this meeting uh, on the hedging. So I always learn anytime I come to a meeting, and I'm really happy that I'm learning. Even if I've been in the trading for 4 or 5 years or so, I'm always learning, and I want to keep learning from you. You have been the one that coached me on trading. I know nothing about crypto initially until I met you, and I've been learning since then. So the question I want to ask is, apart from BTC, would you recommend any other coin, maybe Solana or Ethereum, for where you can? Because as we are making the profits, it is good that we are able to maintain or sustain these profits. I know BTC is it's a very good one, but aside from BTC, can we use Solana or Ethereum to as our like a bank where we can keep the monies that we are making from this instead of using it to buy popcorn, just as you mentioned? Is this a good place to go? What do you think?
Yeah, I think if you ask me, right, you see, apart from Bitcoin and stablecoin, uh, all the other alternate coins such as Ethereum, Solana, or even Sui. Okay, Sui, for example, I think Sui might overtake Solana. So, but the thing is that please understand that all these coins are seasonal. So that means that there is a altcoin season for this coin. So if you are holding this coin, might be now is the right time, right? Because we have not really seen the altcoin season yet. So when Bitcoin dominance is actually coming down, that's where we will start to see the altcoin actually starting to surface. Okay, but if you that is one thing. But the only problem is that how are the user or the trader going to time the market, right? So that is the problem. Or if you are holding, you need to know how to time the market, or you must understand the season. So that is one thing, right? But I think the simpler thing, okay, the simpler thing, if you don't want any risk, even if you trade Ether, let me tell you guys, even if you trade Ether or Solana, it's all very volatile. And a lot of these coins are basically manipulated by the institutions and so on. So even if you think that, okay, I'm going to earn from JDXBOT and I'm going to trade that, probably you will lose that. Probably you will lose everything that you earn from JDXBOT. So you have to be very careful. Okay, so but I think the simplest thing is if you are smart, right? You are smart, then you use the stable coin and Bitcoin and do the swapping. So if you can use the swapping function and you can time the market, right? Example, if Bitcoin price increase by $5,000, I'm going to swap my BTC to USDT. So you can do this, right? As I said, guys, please understand, okay? As I always mention, right? You see, USDT and USDC is your earning. You do whatever you want with it. But try to hold your Bitcoin. Don't sell your Bitcoin. Hold it. Okay, because you can see, right? Example, when the few days or the few weeks, right, when the Bitcoin price going down, I think in the month of March and April, our return from Bitcoin seems like very small. But actually, in terms of the Bitcoin value, it was huge. But when you convert the Bitcoin value, when the price is low to USD, it looks very small. But if the amount you have kept and now is 100,000, that value now in USD is actually probably greater than USDT and USDC. So this is what I'm trying to say, right? So if you want to do, you can use the BTC, stake the BTC and hold it. So when the BTC price go for 100,000 or let's say 200,000, imagine, right? You convert that to USDT, I think you probably have massive amount of US dollar in your hand at that point of time. So you have to be very smart. So swapping is one. So if you are doing swapping, you can use the profit, right? Example, you got USDT, USDC, you can swap to BTC, swap BTC back. But the problem is that the range. Do you want to swap 1,000 point price movement? Do you want to swap 5,000 point price movement? And this is where people need to depend on your time. Okay, so if you don't have much time, then your range will be bigger. Let's say you only swap 5,000 points different. So you have XC currency app with your hand. You can see, right? From the XC currency, you can put a timer or a clock where it will remind you when the Bitcoin price actually 5,000 points different, and then you swap. So if the Bitcoin price goes up by 5,000 points, you swap your Bitcoin to USDT. And when the Bitcoin price comes down by 5,000 points, you swap your USDT to BTC, right? This is another income, separate income from JDXBOT, but no risk at all. zero risk. So you don't need to trade, right? You don't need to trade in the open market, and then you got a headache because now you need to watch the trading. You got no time, and oh my goodness, you are just like your fund is stuck there, right? But swapping, you just wait for the right timing. So it's just my advice. That's the reason why our next project will be the swapping bot, right? So if we can actually do the auto swapping bot for JDXBOT community, that will be fantastic, because then the bot can do swapping for you, and you can just channel your profit into the bot, and the bot will do the swapping based on the range and whatever so that you guys want to decide, right? So that is the one thing. Then the second project we are looking at will be the DCA bot. Because that is brilliant, right? So if the price starts to come down and it starts to do DCA every week or every month, so imagine, right? By the time Bitcoin price goes up, what will be the value of Bitcoin you have already saved? So DCA is for saving. Swapping, all right, swapping is basically you become a mini money changer. Okay, so imagine, right? Even if you can make 5 or 10% extra from swapping every month, that is a good money, because it's a zero risk at all. Okay, so those are the things that you can do. At the moment, you need to do manually, but in the future, hopefully, hopefully we can work on that. And so that's why we allowed you to share JDXBOT and so on, because all this fund that is coming in, right, actually helping us to build our next product. So the more revenue that is coming in, it's actually helping us a lot, because we don't have venture capitalists, we don't have investors. It's either I use my money, or we wait for the revenue, and then we take this revenue and build and continue to build new product, right? So please understand that it's not easy, but it is possible. But it's just sometimes will take a longer time, because we need to wait for those funds to come in. Okay, so please understand that. Thanks, eBay. Okay,
Yeah, thank you, JD.
you're most welcome, right? So, Obong, please go ahead. Please unmute yourself. Are you there?
Okay, Doctor, please confirm you can hear me.
Yes. Please go ahead. I can hear you.
Okay, good day, good afternoon. Sorry, my network has not been favorable today, so I don't think I got some of this. So the question I want to ask. Thanks for what you are doing to humanity. We really appreciate. The question I want to ask is what some of my colleagues who join are asking me about the trading staying for me. I don't have any issue, but since they are coming staying for long, so I want to ask the new DCA, that is the new things we've put in place. Is it going to, when we close this particular trade, is it going to make it the trade close faster? I don't know if you understand what I mean.
Yes,
the new
I
things
understand. I understand that. Okay, but yes, you see, how to say, there is no guarantee that the strategy can close. The strategy can help to close the position fast, or the position can stay longer, depend on the market condition. For example, right? Let's say, for example, you have the strategy in place, but the market is moving sideways in a smaller range. How do you want to close that? We still have to wait. You see that? So it's a flip of a two coin, right? It's a two-sided. One is a strategy, one is the market. So sometimes the market cause the position to stay cause the position to stay longer. So it's very difficult to say that any strategy can actually close that position faster, right? So I can't claim anything, but what I will say is that we are continuously improving our strategy, because yes, it's true, we want highest profitability. We want the closure time to be faster, because we want more cycle of trading. But at the same time, we also need to make sure the risk, the safeguarding of the position is in place. So at the moment, right, you can see, although we are floating, but we are safeguarding the position. You see that? So that is important. And there are measures that has been put in place to actually close the position. But high likely, okay, if I'm not mistaken, the new DCA will help a lot in order to improve the cycle time of the closure of the position. All right, Obam?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Dr. J. For me, I'm the happiest person as far as the capital, is in place. So I don't have any issue, But for the new folks coming in, I was even telling them they are even lucky they are coming to see where we don't have any issue, because beta testing, soft launch, pre-launch, we know how the patience that we have. So, but for them, they don't have that. So I just needed to, since my network wasn't good for me to hear when you were presenting that particular plan. I said, let me ask. For me, we really appreciate. I really, most importantly, preservation of capital, because that is the, when you lose your capital, then you are out of business. So that is the one that is for me. I'm really happy that up to this time, almost years now, this board is still resilient and our capital is intact. So that is why for me, I don't have, even if we need to have 35 from 30 to 45,000 points. Me, I don't mind. As far as capital is in place, I will wait. That's mine. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Obang. I think the other thing I really want to add also is very important, okay? Because you see, we are quite straightforward and very transparent. So that's why during our business presentation every Tuesday, I think we do mention that we don't promise any fixed return. So this is not a ROI program. So if you are coming in and you think that you want a fixed ROI, I think this is recorded. Okay, let me just make it clear if you are watching or listening to this, right? Please don't join JDXBOT, because we don't promise any fixed ROI, guys. Because why? You see, I rather be honest, right? This is a real trading. So will the real trading have floating? Yes. So if you are in another platform and they are doing trading and they are giving you a fixed return, let me ask you one question. If they are floating, where do they get the money to pay you that 1% or 2% that they promise? Isn't that is a clear Ponzi scheme? They are taking the money from someone, from the affiliate, and then they pay you. So that means they don't have a real trading in place. So we are not doing MLM. So we are not promising you any fixed return, right? So you have the bot. You can see the bot is running. DCA is taking place. Floating doesn't mean that is inactivity, okay? There can be floating, but the DCA is taking place. So means that the bot is still trading. Okay, so please understand that, right? So it's example like the music, right? In music, we have notes. We have notes and we do have silence. Silent doesn't mean it's not music. Even silence is actually part of the music. Okay, it's part of the note. You see that? So you need to be silent at that note. It's still part of the music. So you cannot say that just because it is silent, there is no music, right? No. So it's the same thing. The trading is taking place. Just because it is floating doesn't mean there is inactivity. Because I think some of you saw, right? When the price start to hit 99, 98, you see the at order taking place. The DCA takes place. So there is a certain time, a predetermined time, right? The ROE, right? That this thing is taking place. Okay, so just take note of that. I just want to make sure things are clear, because if you want a fixed ROI, please, okay, don't ever join JDXBOT. Find other companies that gives you a fixed ROI. Okay, so please just make sure you are clear on that. Okay, thank you. Yes, Ibanga, please unmute yourself.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, doctor.
Yes, good day to you.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. Yeah,
Most
I understand explanation. Yeah, but what I want to ask, I don't know how the bot is programmed, but it programmed to how often does it take? Like, at what percentage movement, or is it of the price or percentage of margin, right? But how often? What percentage is in the bot? Like at every maybe 10% of price movement, the bot takes a little profit. You know,
no.
does it?
Yeah, for JDXBOT, it's very simple. We have a hedging position, right? So you have, let's say, you have the main position and the hedging position. So we focus on the main position. So if when the main position hit ROE 35%, it will close in profit.
Okay, 35%. Okay.
So if you see the main position is minus 100 or minus 200, it is not the time to take profit. We cannot, and we will never close any position in losses. So that is the policy. So we need to wait for the price to reverse, and then minus 100 will become plus 35. Then it will close. But please understand, we will also check your position ratio. So if it's plus 35%, but your position ratio is above 0.3, we will not close, because if we close, you will be in loss.
Yeah.
You see
Right.
that? So this is very important. Okay, just because 35% we close, it doesn't make sense, right? So we check the position ratio. So if the position ratio is above 0.3, then the bot will do some adjustment on your position ratio until the position ratio is below 0.3, and then we check your ROE plus 35%. Now the bot will close your position in profit.
So if it does not reach that 35%, it will still be floating, but with profits.
Sorry?
So if it doesn't reach the 35% yet, it will still be floating.
You are right. It will
Profit.
be still floating until it reaches the 35%.
Okay, all right.
So that is the reason why the DCA is important, because we are bringing the entry price closer and closer to the market price.
Okay, thank you.
See that? Yeah, that's right. Okay. Okay, it's a great question. It's a great question. I think a lot of people will be learning from that questions, right? That is important. But our fixed profit taking is 35%. Why 35%? Because we already do the R&D to calculate how much is the fees to pay to Bitget, to the exchange. So we need to make sure after all the fees, you are still net profit. Okay. All right. Great. Okay, guys, that is awesome. Okay. Anyone else have any other questions that you would like to ask, or you have any other inputs? I think this is a great session, right? Last week was a fantastic session. This is another great session, because the more you learn, the more you earn. Okay, let me repeat that once again. The more you learn, the more you earn. Not the more you earn, the more you learn. Doesn't happen, okay? The more you learn, the more you earn, okay? Educate yourself. The more knowledgeable you become, the better you will be in terms of your skills and your talent. You can actually generate more income, all right? So that's why learning is crucial, all right? Those who stop learning start dying, all right? That's why, so if you think you are the best and you stop learning, that is the day you will start dying. All right. So continue to learn. It doesn't matter what is your age. Continue to learn, because the more you learn, the more you understand things, the better and better you become. Okay. A lot of people are making blunder financially because they are not learning. All right. The more you learn, the better it is. That's why we do this, every 2 weeks once, right? So every month twice. Every Thursday, the first week and the third week, we do AMA session, because we want you to learn. All right. So those of you who can make the time, that's why we try to keep it about 1 hour, 1.5 hours. So if you can make the time to be here, because it's different than actually listening or watching the video, because you can get distracted. So if you can set aside solid 2 hours, right, without any distraction, tell your family, don't disturb me. Okay, the next 2 hours I want to spend my time with Dr. John David. Don't disturb me. You don't know how the 2 hours can change you, right? So this is why we are doing what we are doing, so that we can also empower you, okay, not just financially, but also empower you with knowledge, with insight, so that you can become a better person. Okay, so guys, I would like to say thank you so much for coming on board. Really appreciate those of you who tried to make it. I'm always here, right? I'm always present. So I really appreciate that, and I hope that you understand, okay, everything that we are explaining to you. What we are doing, we try to be very transparent in the way we run things. Even you can see that, okay, if the intention of the people who are coming in only thinking that they can make a daily ROI, we even tell you don't join us, okay, because it's not what. If we want the right partners who understand how the bot works, okay, that is important. Okay, I think we got one more. Yes, John Aurora. Since everyone that asked question was from Nigeria, now we have someone from Papua New Guinea. All right, that is awesome. Yes, John, go ahead.
Thank you, JD, and good
I think
night.
I have
Good
a
night.
big team. I have a big team in Nigeria. I have to fly to Nigeria then.
Yes, this must be the first voice from the South Pacific. So
yes, you are right. Please go ahead, John.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear me? Okay. Well, firstly, I just want to say thank you and acknowledge you in regards to the to this bot. Since I've been on the journey, I think since the beginning with you.
Awesome.
And in for this case here, we've seen it go from about just under 80,000 to 100,000, close to 100,000, and so it really shows the resilience of the bot, and I really appreciate that.
Awesome.
My question basically is in regard to the DCA, and my situation with my 3 bots right now is I put funds into my sub account consistently to bring my entry price about, I think there's 2 just above 87K, and I think 1 about 89K, and my my sub account is more than 50%. Maybe the question is just a question saying, how long, because I don't have any more additional funds to put to go, I'm about 70%, let's say, of my available balance or something. And if let's say the market goes the other way and then I don't have any more money to put in, what happens in that case? How does JD, how does the bot salvage my position or protect my position?
Yeah, at the moment, I think your liquidation probably has not, your liquidation will be what, around 15,000 points? Any idea?
12,000. It's 12,000 for the 3 of them, I think.
Oh, it's okay. Oh, okay, all right. So because it is 12,000, so every time it drop below 12, you will see there is a auto adjustment that is being done to push it back to the 12,000. So what happened is that your positions are protected, no problem, but your position ratio is actually probably already higher than 0.3. So you can check that. You can take the smallest amount and divide by the big amount of your position. You can see high likely your position ratio would have gone up. So you can see, right? To protect your liquidation, we have to sacrifice the position ratio. Okay, so this is like a temporary measure, right? While we protecting, we have to, because that is the max amount available that there. But you still got 70%. That is not a problem.
Yes.
It's okay. Even if you go 50%, you are still fine. Not a big deal. Okay. The bot will continue. Make sure you are 12,000 apart from your mark price, so you don't need to worry. But when every time we do that, there is a hedging involved, so your position ratio will go higher. But even that, we don't worry, because when the market reverse, When the market reverse, what happened? Number one, your available balance will start to go up. Okay, so 70%
Yes.
can go 80%, 90%, it will go up because market is now coming back to your favor.
Yes.
Number two, your liquidation will be pushed further away because when the market comes back to your favor, your liquidation will be pushed further away. So when this happens, we will then adjust your position ratio before we close the position in profit. Clear?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Let's say if Bitcoin shoots up to 103 or 104 or 105, and
I think no problem. You are still okay.
Okay.
But
right.
if it shoot up 120, 130,000, then I don't know, but we can still salvage the situation. I don't think so. It's impossible because we have done that before, right?
Yeah.
We have done that before. We can even do that now, but we don't want to do that. We just want to follow the market. In the event things really become too serious, we can do the necessary, no problem.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, but we always that's the reason why we are encouraging our users. Instead of 50%, try to put 1-to-1. So whatever amount you put in your main account, you put the same amount in your sub account because then you already prepare ahead of time. You don't need to worry. You see that? So that I think will be good. So always prepare ahead of time and so on. But I think this is the initial stage. So people are learning. So there's no issue about it. And also with the profit that the user is generating, hopefully, once we close this floating position, this cycle, everything will be back to normal and things will start to get better and better.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Okay.
right.
Thanks. Truly appreciate that, John. Okay, great. All right, great. These are normal, right? That's why technical, this kind of AMA session is important because a lot of people may even worry, right? Because they don't understand about futures, leverage trading. Sometimes, if we explain, then they start to understand, they get more worried. So sometimes it's good make sure they don't understand. Okay, so but the thing is that we want to make sure everyone understands. So even if you worry, don't worry, okay? Just let us know so that we can help you to further understand so that you know exactly that those measures are in place. And honestly, guys, I think almost 24 hours I've been monitoring the market every day. So we are working very closely, relentlessly yet closely with the technical team. So sometimes if there are urgent attention required, the team will do the necessary. So that's why you see all the new measures that we put in because we are continuously monitoring the market and our focus, right, is safeguarding the top priority. Number one, safeguard users' capital. Number two is profitability. For the user, is different. Number one is profitability, right? But for us, the first thing first is safeguard the position, and then we look into the profit. Okay. But nevertheless, okay, I don't think so. This will take too long. Okay, as we use as our experience before, because the strategy we have is different, and the market is also a bit different. So I believe soon, okay, the position will be closed. And when we intervene to do the add orders and the partial profit, so when we do the partial profit, you will start to see profit coming into your spot wallet. Okay, so that's the good news. That's why we waited for your hedging amount to be plus 200 or plus 100% something, so that when we do a small 10%, it will actually add a lot of value to your profitability. So you will see your profit in your spot account. Okay, so we will let you know when we do that because you will start to see notifications, right? You will receive notifications. Bitget will send you the notification so you know profit is coming in. Okay, so we are trying to do our best while we protecting, and we also actually take the profit from the hedging position. Okay, but we can't do too big amount, because taking profit from the hedging position also can affect your estimate liquidation. All right, so we have to be very, very careful, because everything is interrelated. Everything is correlated when it comes to futures trading. But so many people, they don't understand how bigger system works and so on. So they may do blunder. But over here, we understand how everything is interrelated and correlated. So whatever we do, we have to think about the impact to the other aspects of it. Okay, so it is very important. Okay, just take note of that. Okay, all right, guys. Truly appreciate your time. All right, so we will catch up again next week. Don't forget, Tuesday is our business presentation. So if you are going to bring in new people and so on, bring them for the Tuesday. Let them hear the business presentation. And then next week, there is no AMA. Okay, AMA is basically alternate week. So we will meet you again the coming week for the AMA. But business presentation is every week, every Tuesday. So we will catch up. I hope you were blessed today. So we will catch up once again. Okay, God bless each and every one of you. Take care. Okay, if you want to say goodbye, you can do so. I have unmute you all. All right, thank you, guys. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you,
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.